Yo guys, what's going on and welcome back to a brand new episode of my F1 2019 career mode here today for the finale of season 1, round number 21 for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. If you guys missed the last episode for the Brazilian Grand Prix, then watch the episode guys and watch the video before coming back to this one, before we jump into any spoilers, because it sets up the finale and the battle for the Constructors Championship in this episode. So please go watch that video guys to see exactly what happened. There was a lot of rain involved, so go watch the video. But for this weekend we arrive here at Abu Dhabi and clear skies as expected, and the good news is the upgrades we put on in the last episode have all successfully been applied to the car with no failures, which is great news. So hopefully that will just give us the edge to try and push for that Constructors Championship, because we've led the Constructors for so long and it just slipped away right at the last minute. And you can see in the R&D chart, Red Bull still pushing on with upgrades, as are we, as are Mercedes, but Red Bull taking a massive step forward here, and they're going to be the quickest car going into the last race of the season. I believe that's the first time all season they've been the quickest car. And in terms of practice, I'm not going to show you guys in the background, but just to kind of go into qualifying, get into the real important part of the video, as it is the finale. But we had a pretty good session. I actually done the fuel management on top of the usual practice programs for a change to really maximise the R&D points. And for this weekend, we're actually going to kick things off at 105% AI for qualifying, but I quickly realised, and you'll see in a minute, after qualifying 1, I went down to 104 for reasons I'll explain in a moment. Now, before you guys say anything, I'm aware the patch has dropped today. I recorded this and finished recording this about 15 minutes before the patch dropped. So for tomorrow's video, for the start of Season 2, it will be with the updated performance chart, which I'm very much excited for, and I cannot wait to show you guys exactly what happened, because it was very interesting. But for now, let's focus on this video and on this session, because we've got qualifying to tackle here. And I want to try and have a good session. You know, it's been a while since we've had a good qualifying session, in my opinion. We've been very scruffy lately and kind of just scraping by and struggling with AI difficulty. So hopefully today it is the end of that. We can try and have at least a somewhat respectable session. And the pressure's on. The gap in the Constructors is 14 points between Ferrari and Mercedes. Mercedes lead the way by 14 points. And like I said before, we led pretty much most of the season, from like Spain until the last 2 races, and then we let it slip right at the end because Mercedes got very good with the R&D and they really improved their car. So I'm determined to win it back. But 14 points is a lot to turn over in one race between 4 cars, 2 and 2. So we're going to have to really work for it. I'm going to have to hope as well Sebastian Vettel does his bit and holds up his end of the bargain. Now, as you can see, after 2 sectors on this lap, we're only about a 10th down or so after sector 2, and they're looking pretty good. But this is what I meant by I started off with 105 and I went down to 104, because come the end of the lap, even though I understand I could be slow, I had a very decent final sector. Like, it felt pretty good, and somehow we lost 0.8 of a second through there. We went through to Q2 quite comfortably, but I lost so much time in one sector, and I was like, that doesn't make sense, because I was literally in the money after 2 sectors and I've lost literally almost a second in one sector alone, and it wasn't even like I made any mistakes. It was pretty decent. So I went down to 104, and this was the perfect difficulty for this circuit in terms of giving me the outright perfect balance. And you can see here in Q2 I tried my luck. I'm going to go for the mediums and see if it works, and I'm fast through sectors 1 and 2, so it's all about holding it together through sector 3. And straight away sector 1, you can see they're pretty much just a fraction up on Sebastian Vettel, purple through the first sector. And then now we're going to go towards the hairpin, and it's all about straight line speed on these 2 back straights. And my setup was actually quite good, to be fair. I was really happy with it, and I'll make a video soon. You guys have been asking me for an updated setup video with setups for all the tracks, so I'll make that sometime soon. But anyway, back onto the video. So far so good here on this lap, as we're now going towards the chicane slash kind of 100-degree corners, because it's a very tight chicane. But then on the exit we get a poor bit of traction there and getting a big bit of oversteer on the exit, and that cost us, I reckon, about 2.5 tenths maybe. It was a pretty big mistake, and we lost out on a lot of straight line speed along the straight, and you can see they were pretty much 2.5 tenths down as a consequence, nearly 3 tenths down on Sebastian. So we've got to really put it together here for this final sector to make sure that we don't have to go back out again on the soft tyres, and really going throughout these mediums at the minute, just hoping the car will stick and we have the pace to go through as we now go in towards near the hotel section. Another lock up on the front right. They're just trying to feed the car through and not make any major mistakes, and keep it nice and tidy and stick to the racing line. Very nice run through there, to be fair, through the hotel section, keeping it nice and tidy. And now through the last couple, 2 right-handers, and once again it's all about just not throwing the lap away now, because you've done so good to get to this point, and a great traction out the final corner actually. And we actually go P4, to be fair, and we didn't really lose that much time at all in that final sector, so 104 definitely paid off, and it was a lot more balanced. Nonetheless, we managed to get through into Q3, and P6, not too bad, 6/10 off the pace, 3 behind Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel P2 there with Devon Butler setting the pace. And to be fair, I've noticed a trend recently with the AI drop off the pace a little bit in Q3 compared to Q2, and this was the case again in Q3, on my first run. You can see Weber setting the pace, and it was extremely close. After the first run, myself, Weber and Verstappen all covered by a 1/10 of a second. But then on the second run, it was game time. I lowered the front wing a bit because I had too much downforce, and I wanted a bit more straight line speed, and it actually worked out really well for us. So here we go. We're going to stay on board for the entire lap. I'm the last one across the line, so my lap will be the last one to get registered. So here we go, turn 1 and sector 1 so far perfect as we now go down towards the hill and then into the chicane section. All about feeding the car through here and having patience on the throttle, and don't spin the rears. It's very easy to spin around here. I spun it quite a few times in practice. The rears just wants to come around here, and you've got to have a lot of patience. Now onto the back straight, DRS open here, and using overtake mode to really maximise the straight line speed. And so far, 2.5 tenths up, really good start to the lap so far. And I've not actually managed to get into a 134 this weekend, so if I got a 134, that'd be great. But then I made a mistake into the chicane, locking up the rears on entry, and the back end just kind of came around a little bit, and it was a little bit annoying because up until that point it was pretty much a perfect lap, and that little mistake cost us about a 1/10 of a second, 1/10.5 maybe, so our deficit was reduced. But we're still looking good here as Weber sets a 34.8 and the first man into the 34s in Q3, and it's all about just not throwing the lap time away now. I knew sector 3 was going to hurt a little bit because we took off some front wing, and the lack of downforce would hurt us, so I was kind of hoping to have a bit more of a margin go into this sector, so I could pretty much afford to lose a bit of time but still be quick. But still, we lost a little bit of advantage. We're about a 1/10.5 up still through this section here, and it's been a pretty damn good lap nonetheless, and I think we can still challenge if we hold it together now through the final few corners here. I turned a little bit too early there and carried a bit too much speed, but still we get away with it. But then the final corner, I missed my apex and make a mistake, and that cost me about a 1/10 of a second. Just turned in way too late, had to run wide, had to scrub off the speed, get on the brake, and yeah, ultimately it's P2 for us, which is still pretty damn good. My best qualifying in quite a while. I know we got pole in Brazil, but that was a wet qualifying, so in terms of a dry qualifying, that was a really good session for us, and I'm disappointed because I really think like a 34.6, 34.7 was really realistically possible, and the lap in itself could have been pretty much perfect, but I made a couple of mistakes in crucial areas, and ultimately we're going to have to settle for our front row alongside my former teammate Lucas Weber. The good news is Mercedes are 4th and 6th, so they could be pretty good. With that being said, let's jump into the race and let's see how we get on though for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the end of season 1.
A superb qualifying performance from your old F2 teammate today. How does it feel to be on the front of the grid with your old F2 teammate beside you? Are you happy with where you'll be on the grid tomorrow? It looks like you've invested heavily in the development of new parts. Appreciate your time.
Welcome to the Yas Island circuit for the finale of another thrilling Formula One season. It's been a breathtaking year, and we end it at a track that's been the scene of many glories and heartbreaks over its short history. It's time to end the season in style. It's time for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We have 21 corners here at Yas Island circuit with 10 to the right and 11 to the left. It's a total lap distance of 3.4 miles. 2 long straights open up some passing opportunities into the chicanes, and we expect average lap speeds of around 123 miles per hour. Joining me for the Grand Prix once again is Anthony Davidson. So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton. What a season they've had. A well-deserved championship victory, and the pressure now surely off with the title already in the bag.
It really is well-deserved. I wouldn't say it's been a faultless title challenge, but certainly one that has been consistent and well-managed. Here's hoping they let off a bit of steam today and give us an exciting race.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Martinez lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, We have Vettel, Weber, Sergio Perez, and Grosjean, Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Russell, and Kevin Magnussen. Leclerc, Verstappen, Robert Kubica, and Stroll, Norris, Butler, Carlos Sainz, and Alexander Albon. Fiat and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Okay, last race of the season, and we still have a chance of winning the Constructors. Let's bring this home.
Right, so here we are then for the finale, the last race of Season 1 here at Abu Dhabi. The Constructors' Championship is on the line, and the pressure's on. I'm going to try my best. We start from first place after the penalties were applied to Lucas Weber's Red Bull, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because it's a good thing in the sense that we get an extra position. It's a bad thing in the sense that the Mercedes cars also get an extra position. So we're going to see how we get on with that. In terms of the strategy, though, this is a very interesting one, because we're going to start the race on the mediums, which is a good thing. We managed to get through Q2 on those tyres, but it's a very, very interesting strategy situation, because if you look on the screen, I've made two custom strategies. Originally, I wanted to go for this one here. I wanted to go soft medium, but it's about 12 seconds slower than the two-stop, running a medium, medium, soft. And I do have one fresh set of soft tyres left from qualifying. So I think I'm going to just, take it lap by lap and decide on the fly. And I could still kind of change the strategies as I go along, but I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I'm not quite sure in terms of what I'm going to do, so I'm going to keep my options open. And originally, and in principle, I'm going to try and go for the two-stop. We're going to see how our pace is. If we can actually hold on to the lead and try and actually, pull away a little bit and see if we've got good pace in the medium, then I'll try and see how we get on. Fuel-wise, we're going to run 2 laps more fuel, quite a lot more than what I normally run, because I've got a fresh engine, so I can afford to run rich mix a lot more. And we're going to see how we go. It's the last race of the season. We're going to give it absolutely everything, and fingers crossed, the medium tyre is going to be the X factor that gives us the edge in this race, and we can try and push on. But with that being said, let's just jump into it. Let's try and get a good start and take it lap by lap, and hopefully, come the end of it, we are Constructors Champion. With that being said, let's jump into things here and let's get into the racing. It's time for round 21 for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Right, here we go then. The 5 red lights come on for the final time in Season 1. Lights out and away we go. Not a bad start, to be fair, says in the mediums. Lewis is going to get down the inside into turn 1. We're going to go around the outside of the Mercedes, and we're just going to hold on to that, which is good. For once, we actually have a respectable start and hold on to our position, which is good. And we're going to try and use a lot more ERS in this initial start phase, because the AI use a lot of ERS in the first stint. I think that's why they're so quick and they have so much pace in the initial part of the race. I think they just use up their engine mode really early on. So
looking good from the start.
Yep, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I've also got a lot of extra fuel, so for that reason I'm going to use them both and really try and push on here and see if we have the pace. Straight line speed wise, we're looking pretty damn good already here, as Lewis tries to close me down. So at the minute, it's going to be about just holding on. I think we're going to be defending at first on this tyre because it is slower, but then eventually the crossover will happen and we will have the edge on these tyres. So let's get a head down, let's get to work. I need ultimate concentration, and let's hope that we have enough pace. It already feels much better this race, though, I can't lie. Okay, here comes the first test. Good exit out the hairpin. Hopefully Seb can try and challenge Lewis here on the straights and get past. He's actually quite close to Lewis. He's closer to him than Lewis is to me, so maybe he can try and go for the move here. He's going to pull to the inside. You can see the arrows. I'm going to take an early apex here to avoid having contact. We do lose the back end a little bit under braking, but that's okay. Lewis is right on my rear, so we're going to have to really give it some on the engine here. Running overtake and rich mix. Lewis is getting slowly, but we should be okay into this brake zone. And there we go, we stay in front once again. Hopefully Seb can make the move. If he makes the move on Lewis, that'd be fantastic for a change. End of lap 2.
Great work. That's a new fastest lap for the race.
DRS enabled, and we set a purple lap, so the pace is okay at the minute. We're holding on with this medium tyre. It's not too bad.
The car behind is dropping back by about 3/10 a lap.
I think we've got good enough pace. I've got to try and pull away though, because Lewis will have DRS on me this lap on the back straights. That's a little bit hot on the brakes there. Just got that one a little bit wrong. That's going to put me on the back foot quite badly here. In towards the hairpin, I'm going to try and take a late apex. It's going to be quite hard to stay in front, I think, this time. We're going to have to really hope that we have the straight line speed. Lewis is close enough. Come on, Seb, do something. Try and spoil his party. Here comes Lewis, he's gaining. I'm going to have to go defensive this time. Down the inside, pick up the racing line. There we go, that will do. We stay in front. This is fine. We can manage with this. And actually Vettel's got alongside here, which is good. Hopefully he can challenge. This is my chance now to pull away and open up a gap and try and release Vettel into clean air. I do have a bit of a dilemma on my hands here because me and Vettel were battling for the runner-up spot. There's a point that separates us, but at the same time, he's in P2 now. So could I release him into clean air and could he pull away? And we've got a better chance of wrapping up the Constructors here, or at least trying to win it. He sets the pace, so I'm tempted to let him go.
Sebastian's just put in the fastest lap of the race.
I might get a chance later on in this Grand Prix to maybe re-overtake him as we pick up a warning there for track extending. I might get a chance later on to repass him and win the race, but for now I want him to maybe go past and we can solidify this victory. So Butler's down the order, of course. He's got a penalty, as you saw, so he's far down. So he's out of the equation at the minute. So yeah, I'm going to let Seb go here. I'm not going to fight it. Hopefully he makes the move. And yeah, we can then try and let him open up a gap. There goes Seb. Now Lewis is behind. We're going to slot in behind my teammate. Although Lewis does absolutely someone down the inside. He hits the back of Sebastian there. And might have got wing damage. We're going to go for the squeeze and just push him off there. Take the racing line, and there we go. Right, this should be okay. Hopefully Sebastian has enough pace left on those softs to try and have a little bit of pace and try and pull away a bit. I'm going to try and purposely drop out of DRS a little bit and see if he can really establish a gap as we take out the bollard there. Surprised it took 4 laps to get rid of it. Pretty good pace. At the minute, that Red Bull of Verstappen's actually dropped back. He's been overtaken by a Racing Point. So it's literally myself, Sebastian and Lewis who are the front 3. And Lewis is not really getting anywhere near me now. He's struggling to hold on. And Sebastian's got good enough pace to start pulling away. So this is working out pretty nicely so far. I'm not letting Seb completely run away, which is what I wanted. I'm just keeping him outside of a second so I don't drag Lewis with me into a unnecessary battle and time loss. So this is working out pretty good so far. At the moment, the way this race is going, seeing the pace and seeing how my tyres are holding up and how my car feels, I am looking at the one stop at the minute because it makes a lot more sense. There's a lot of traffic behind. You can see there we're going to have to get through a lot of cars on a 2-stop strategy.
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the hards.
So instead of pitting lap 9, we're going to try and stretch this to lap 11 or lap 12 and run the hard tyres.
The car behind is dropping back by about 3/10 a lap.
Yeah, Lewis is now he's no longer within a second now, so we're in a pretty good spot. We're just floating pretty much. I feel like the softs are just starting to fade now as I'm starting to catch up to Sebastian again, and Lewis is dropping back. So yeah, like I said, this is looking good. We're going to run the hards probably because Seb's in prime position on the 2-stop. He's the most advanced 2-stopper on track, so that's good for him. And at the same time, I'm pretty much the most advanced 1-stopper. So on paper, it's looking good for strategy. So we're going to stick with it, and I'm going to try and stretch these mediums out. It's important though that once those around us come in on the 2-stop, we need to pick up the pace for those laps until we pit in. So I'm trying to make sure I don't kill my tyres off and I keep them in the window so that we can start setting some personal bests if we need to. Okay, so Max Verstappen's pitting in the Red Bull. He's the first one to blink and get off those tyres, although I believe he was on the medium. So, interesting one. I swear Max qualifying in Q2 on the mediums, I'm pretty sure. So, that's an early stop and an aggressive strategy from him. Again, we know the Red Bull do struggle with tyre wear, so interesting strategy. Meanwhile, we're looking comfortable.
Some information on Vettel. They seem to have an issue.
No, not now. Not this race. It was going so well up until that point. Not now. That's like the worst timing possible. Let's just hope the gap he's got right now is enough, and also he can get that sorted out when he comes into the pit lane for a pit stop maybe. I'm not sure. Let's just hope it gets sorted out though, and he doesn't lose too much time. You definitely don't lose as much time in this year's game when it comes to car issues compared to last year. So hopefully he'll still be in the race and in the mix. I'm kind of hoping he does pit in now so I can get released because he's starting to hold me up and this is ruining both of our strategies. So here we go. Let's see if he comes in and hopefully gets out of my way. There we go. Perfect. Good timing. Lewis is going to follow him in, so hopefully Seb rejoins the track in front.
Sebastian is in the pits.
Oh. Danny Kvyat out of the session. He retires. First retirement of the race in the Toro Rosso.
Careful on the tyres. Our data is showing some wear. Most likely you'll be able to feel it.
Yep, I can feel it. The rears are really struggling. I've had to make a small tweak to the diff, open it up a little bit more, just to make sure.
In this lap, and remember the speed limit. We'll be penalised if we exceed it.
I'm not coming in.
As you approach.
Next lap, mate, next lap. If not the one after that, maybe. I want to try and get to lap 12. Verstappen and Weber behind. Both on mediums, they're 2 stopping. The gap of 9.1 to Verstappen is a net gap, so we need to keep an eye on that. We've both got 1 stop left, so that 9.1 gap is going to be very important to keep. Okay, so Lewis is setting the pace now. Running the soft tyres on that Mercedes. We need that extra point, so I'm going to try and give it a go on the hards when I get them on, even though that's not the best tyre for it. I'm going to try my best because we need any point we can get. Seb on the mini-map, he's
The gap behind is 17.7 seconds.
looks like he's P5 at the minute. He's about to get swirled up by the midfield team, so hopefully that's not the case and he stays in it and tries to hold on. Hopefully his car gets fixed soon. I'm going to stay out for one more. I feel like I can. I've got a good gap to Verstappen and Weber, so might as well go for it. Although I believe Max did pit on that last lap, but still, we're going to stick with it and hopefully get to the end a little bit easier on tyres. Right then, here we go. We've managed to stretch it out one more lap. I've got to say that's probably my best first stint of the entire season. It really has been a good stint. Into the pit lane though, there we go, nicely slowed down. Weber and Lewis behind are really battling heavily. They were on that lap at least.
Go, go, go.
Good stop, 2.3. We're going to go to the end now on these tyres. I was tempted and I think I could have got away with a soft, but I'm going to play it safe and go hard and not stop anymore.
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops.
Indeed, it does look like, and I think I probably won't get the extra point for the fastest lap because these tyres are not going to be fast enough. But at the same time, you know what, it is where it is. Meanwhile, behind, Raikkonen's being pressured by Seb, and I think Seb is back up to speed now. Even though I've not heard nothing on the radio, based off of mini-map progression and seeing Seb over the last few laps, he's found pace, and I think he's going again. So that's good news. But now let's crack on and get after Lewis. I'm going to obviously have a go at the fastest lap and see if we can try and beat it, and we'll do that on the next lap. So I'm going to charge everything up.
Turn up the ERS deployment and burn some of this energy.
Yeah, don't worry mate, I'm working on it. So we'll have a go next lap and see if we can try and do it. As Seb does make the move on Kimi there and takes P4, so that's good stuff. Right then, let's give this a go. Try and get this fastest lap. There we go, 38.9.
Good job. That was the fastest lap of the race so far. Gap to teammate behind is 2.7 seconds.
Managed to snatch it, which is good. Will we keep it? I'm not sure because everyone's going to stop again and go on faster tyres. But it's good that we've managed to do it on the hard tyres, so that's good stuff. If you look at the mini-map, pretty much Seb and Lewis run the exact same straight and they're on opposite tyres.
Our gap to the car in front is 3.7 seconds.
And at the minute, Seb has better pace than Lewis. And I'm kind of hoping, strategy-wise, Seb does have a set of softs for the final stint. And then Lewis will probably go on the medium and they will switch in terms of tyres that they're on. So hopefully Seb can try and maybe catch Lewis in the final stint. And to be fair, Weber's not too far forward as well. Or Verstappen, I can't remember which Red Bull it is, but whichever one it is, they're not too far up the road. So I think if Seb has softs left, he could still do this. Right, so Lewis pits in. He's actually gone very long on those soft tyres, to the point where he could probably run another set of softs. Weber, I think it's Verstappen. No, Weber stays out, as does Sebastian Vettel. So will Lewis go soft? Will he go medium?
Teammate by 3.3 seconds.
Time will tell, but I'm still tempted to get that soft tyre on, but Weber's just a bit too far ahead. If Weber was literally like right in front of me or pitting with Lewis, and they were literally like next to each other, I think I could probably run the soft and have more pace in them and definitely secure the fastest at that point, but I'm not going to take that risk because I just want the win. I'm just hoping Sebastian has enough pace when he runs the softs that he can take the point for the team, and I'm putting all my faith into him, so let's hope that pays off. Okay, Weber pits in, and I'm expecting Sebastian to do the exact same thing. So they will probably have one lap fresher tyres than Lewis, and there you go, they're both in. So we retake first place.
Sebastian's in for his stop.
I'm really hoping Seb does have the pace to do this and has the tyres. But Lewis will probably re-inherit second place. I think he might undercut Weber, it's going to be very close. Verstappen though, P3, he's on mediums again, so he could maybe be going to the end maybe. Very interesting one, this one. I really don't know how to call it. I just hope Sebastian has the best pace out of all of them. But we're now going to be by ourselves on these hard tyres. That's the gap we have. You can see on track right now. So let's try and convert this into some big points.
Boxed for the mediums. Car behind on the medium tyre. Gap to teammate behind is 21.0 seconds.
There goes the extra point as Weber takes the fastest lap. He's hoping Seb responds on this very lap and he can try and snatch that away from him. Well, it doesn't seem like it's happened because he would have crossed the line by now. So Weber looking like he's going to bring home the extra point for Red Bull. 9.1 second gap, and we've got 7 laps to go. It's going to be interesting. He's gaining about 2 seconds a lap, but that should hopefully decrease as his tyres start to wear away. I think we're going to get caught here. His tyres really faded, and I've dropped off the pace massively. So we might have to start preparing for a battle and trying to keep Weber behind for the rest of the race.
Right, some information on Grosjean. They're retiring from the race.
Grosjean out, second retirement of the Grand Prix. Weber is really quick. He's going to catch me, so we've got to get ready to defend. 5 whole laps to go and the gap is 3.8. I'm kind of hoping his mediums start to fade a little bit as well. Okay, I've saved a bit of fuel in the RS. I'm ready to defend. I'm now going to push on and give it everything in terms of pace. I was cruising a little bit to try and save fuel in the RS, but now I'm going to push and give everything that these tyres have to give. Weber's 2.1 behind, so let's try and keep him out of DRS as long as I can. Okay, our first test. Let's see, pretty good exit out of the hairpin. Weber's going to gain with DRS, of course, but he's not getting that much. He's not really chasing the toe either. He's kind of pulling out to maybe cool the car down, so we can manage that. Straight on speed seems okay. That's a very poor entry into the chicane there, but luckily I tend to get a pretty good exit out of here compared to the AI, get good traction. Although Weber's actually stayed pretty close, and we're going to have to actually crank it up a little bit just to play it safe. There we go, that'll do. Right, 2 more laps of this. Here we go again. Pretty decent exit, but Weber is close this time, so we're going to run some overtake. Weber's turned up the engine there, he's going for it. We're going to have to go defensive.
There's only 1 lap of fuel remaining.
We're on the inside. Weber's going to go all the way around the outside. We're going to try and switch back underneath. Traction down, we're going to pick up the RS. Here we go. Textbook switch back. And that is what you call good defending. There we go, we stay in front. Lovely stuff. Right then, last lap. Let's make sure our hairpin's perfect. Nice and tight on the apex. Easy on the power. And now we go flat out. That's a good exit. That's some good traction right there. Weber's within range, but let's see if we have enough juice. I think we do. Weber's not committing. He hasn't got the same engine mode as last lap, and we should be okay here. Into the chicane, nice and easy again. Focus on our exit. We'll take as long as we need to take. Oh, that's a bit of a wheel spin there. I've been okay every single lap, but that was a bit of a wobble. That might put Weber on me one last time here. Yeah, here he comes. We're going to have to defend this and go to the inside. Luckily, it doesn't commit to the outside, so we're going to take the racing line, and there we go. That should do it. Unfortunately, Sebastian didn't have the pace, and he couldn't quite catch up to Lewis, so it's going to be a 1-4. So it all comes down to where is Devon Butler in this, and he's behind Verstappen, so I can't quite run the math in my head, but I'm starting to think if that extra point is actually going to cost us the Constructors Championship or not. Either way, it's been a fantastic season. A good debut season in Ferrari. Highs, lows. Recently we've struggled quite a lot, but we've got there in the end. Hopefully season 2 is an improvement, but here we go through the final corner, and we're going to end the season on a win as the fireworks go off in Abu Dhabi, and we win the finale. Get in.
We've had a very strong season this year, very strong indeed. Well done, and thank you on behalf of the team for a fantastic effort.
That's a fantastic performance from Ferrari. It hardly looked in doubt. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Here come our winners now. A thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
You've had experience with Devon's fast, aggressive style. Any advice for the drivers he passed today? You and Lucas weren't far apart by the finish. Do you enjoy racing against him? How does it feel, sharing a Formula 1 podium with your old F2 teammate? It doesn't get much better than a win at this track, does it? Appreciate your time.
Right, so here we have the final race results here at Abu Dhabi. We win the finale in Season 1 and we end the season on a high. Lucas Weber, Lewis Hamilton round off the podium. Lucas Weber scoring the extra point. Sebastian Vettel P4 missing out on the podium along with Max Verstappen and Devon Butler. And I can confirm the extra point for the fastest lap did prove to be critical for the championship. But not for the reason you're thinking. Now, this was very, very tense. And looking at the points, there was a 14-point spin going into this race between ourselves and Mercedes, and I can confirm if you do the maths on the right hand side, it adds up to 14 points. And as you can see in the constructors, we've won it on equal points, but we've managed to win the Constructors Championship against all odds. I didn't think we'd do it with 14 points. I thought that'd be too much to overturn, but somehow we've pulled it out of the bag. And I think we've won it on the premise that we've picked up more wins than Mercedes. That'd be my guess. And I've got, I think, 6 wins this season to my name. And Sebastian has a few as well. So I'm just guessing, based off that logic, I think we have more race wins. So overall, we'll confirm it later on at the end of the video, looking at the season roundup. But I do believe that because of the more race wins, we've picked up the championship on equal points. I don't think I've ever had that before. It's probably the closest constructors fight I think I've ever had, but overall we've done it. In terms of the Drivers' Championship, it ends with Lewis Hamilton on 401 points, breaking the 400 barrier, and we secure second place, the runner-up position, as we outscored Sebastian Vettel, and we finished 52 points behind Lewis Hamilton in the end. So overall, that is it for your championship, and we're going to scroll down a little bit further down so you see the second half of the table there, and Robert Kubica there scoring no points for Williams, and Albon scoring no points for Toro Rosso, very surprisingly, and Antonio Giovinazzi also scoring no points for Alpha, which was a big revelation. Nico Hulkenberg P10, he's kind of greyed out because obviously he got replaced by Sergio Perez, and in terms of constructors, again, just to confirm it, Alfa Romeo at the bottom of the table, Ferrari at the top, and yeah, a big season, guys. But that is it for Abu Dhabi. We're now going to move into the end screen and into the R&D points to see what we can do for next season. Let's see if we can try and protect the rest of our upgrades going into Season 2, and let's see if we can try and add some more performance to this car, possibly. Depends on how many points we have to spend, but hopefully the end of season bonus is quite tasty. But with that being said, let's jump into negotiations and let's have a look at next season.
Nice job this season. You've been performing well, and that's putting us in a strong negotiating position contract-wise. Plus, my 10%'s getting more valuable. So enjoy your break, and keep up the good work next year.
Okay, so it's contract negotiation time, and we're going to try and push the boat a little bit and see what we can do. So straight away, we're going to get to work and see what we can try and get ourselves into. Okay, so I've come up with a contract. We're going to go 4th in qualifying, 3rd in the race. I think that's doable because my racing is better than my qualifying. And then hard team goals, we're going to stay as second driver to not push too much. And then everything is level 1 except for race bonus, which I'm going to try and push level 3, 75%. Let's see what they say to that.
Okay, that proposal looks good. It seems all parties are happy with the deal, so it'll commence at the next race weekend.
I'm shocked. I really am. I thought that would be a lot higher up. So, yeah, we could have pushed it a lot more, so I'll definitely push it some more in the next contract negotiation. But the good thing is that we now, going into Season 2, have 75 extra bonus for R&D points. But now let's move into the R&D tree, because we have pretty much 2,400 points to spend, and we can get a lot of work done. So first of all, the regulation change, of course, is coming in. There's a few more upgrades we need to cover off now on the chassis side of things. So we're going to go for durability first, because reliability is key, and having a car that has no issues for me is important, so I can focus on outright performance. So we're going to protect a few of these. So first of all, let's get a few of these done. I'm going to focus on the key engine parts first of all. So there we go, that's those done. And then we have 800 points to spend, and we can try and cover off either both of the gearbox ones, or we just do one gearbox one and we do a chassis one. And looking at the options here, the tyre wear's looking tempting because that was quite a struggle for us. So yeah, we're going to get the tyre wear one on the car, and there's 188 points left over which we cannot spend, so we'll save those pretty much for next season and build from there. So pretty much the R&D regulation change shouldn't affect us too badly, and we've got no upgrades in terms of performance going into Australia, but at least we're not going to lose pretty much anything. So let's see how we get on But yeah, guys, that is it for this season, and I hope you guys did enjoy. And if you did, then drop a like and also subscribe if you are new for daily Formula 1 content and soon to be MotoGP content returning to the channel very soon. And if you guys are new, then subscribe and also turn on notifications, like I said, to not miss any content. And also finally check out these 2 videos on your screen, guys, if you haven't missed them. But other than that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next one very soon. But until then, it's goodbye from me.